Greetings! In today's video, I'll take you again on a tour of one of my recently finished sketchbooks. This one has watercolor studies and paintings in it, as well as the images I painted during my personal August challenge. I'll also share my thoughts about this Stillman Birn sketchbook. I started this sketchbook back in May, so it took me about 4 months to fill it. I was able to literally fill it cover to cover, as the inside of the cover is seemingly made of the same paper as the inner pages. This specific book is from the Deth series, which feature ivory-colored paper and a green softcover. The format is 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and the book has 26 rounded corners sheets, so 52 pages. It has 7 paper signatures, sewn together and bound with glue. The paper weight is 270 GSM, which is close to 300 GSM, or 140 pound paper. I really enjoyed using this sketchbook. It's meant for mixed media, so the paper can take water decently well, but doesn't have a very strong texture. It's not smooth like watercolor hot press paper, but is not as textured as some cold press paper can be. On their website, Stillman Birn says that this paper is cold press, but it's sort of a very smooth cold press. Both sides of a page have the same texture, which is great if, like me, you like to paint on every page. Many of these drawings you may remember from previous reviews and demos. I used watercolor, gouache, Japanese paints, acrylic gouache, handmade paints, and a bit of ink. In my opinion, the paper tolerated all of these quite well, though I would mention it didn't seem to take to the Gansai paints. That's probably more on the paints than the paper. I used painter's tape a lot, and using the tape as I usually do on all surfaces, I had no issues at all. Last August, I challenged myself to paint a drawing every day using acrylic gouaches. I have bad memories of acrylic from school, but I wanted to give them a second chance. I much prefer the matte finish of the acrylic gouache, so that is what motivated me to do this challenge. I also used gesso, both white and clear, to color in the background colors. I gave myself an easy theme, cats, and proceeded to paint a thing every day for the whole month. I learned a few things along the way. I'll share them here. If using regular gesso, the one that is white, FX paints don't show up. Iridescent or metallic paints are dulled by the gesso. You can still tint the gesso with any kind of acrylic paint. Clear gesso is a bit rougher in texture when dry, but it can be used with FX paints without eating up the effect. Tape can sometimes fail to prevent a sloppy edge, especially if you try to reuse the same tape for more than one painting. It seems like in the process of laying down the gesso, it's fairly easy to have a small bit go under the tape. That makes it harder to get super clean, straight edges. I noticed how difficult or different it is to try and get a smooth, flat layer of color. It's more difficult to layer even if the base paint has dried before putting more over it. in a way, it's very easy to get a clumpy application of color. Last observation, but not the least, the acrylic gouache tends to rub off on the other painting facing it. Since I paint on both sides of a sheet, a lot of colors would transfer to the other painting, especially dark colors. This is not unique to acrylic gouache, but it happened with almost every spot of darker paint in all of these paintings. It was a good learning experience for me, and I feel a lot more confident going into an acrylic gouache painting now that I've painted all of these over a month. For all of these, I used gesso and acrylics by Liquitex and acrylic gouaches by Turner and Holbein. When the challenge was over, I went back to watercolors and finished the last few sheets of this book with that medium. At times, I put a piece of transfer paper between two pages if I wanted to make absolutely sure nothing would transfer to the other page. Overall, I'm super happy with this sketchbook, and I would be happy to work in another Stillman Birn Delta book in the future. It opens flat, can withstand some abuse, and is a good match for my style of painting. It's a nice format and easy to carry around. I really recommend them. If you don't feel like ivory paper, there's also a version with white paper, the Beta series. That's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye!